I think he tweaked his hamstring, as far as I know, and they took him inside just to stretch him out.
Is it something that you think could keep him out of practice a few days, or?
No, I hope not. I mean, they're off tomorrow, so I didn't think it was serious, but if it loosens up, he should be okay. He shouldn't be out long.
Looked like Posey was held out as well, and Charles Brown. Any update on that?
I know Posey had a hamstring. He's close to returning. We're just trying to be careful with him. I just have to see about Charles.
Todd, it's been, I know you got asked yesterday, but still no interceptions, and you have to be happy with that. Anything that's happening for Gino and Ryan that's causing that?
No, I mean, they're not really pressing. We're working on a lot of things as it goes forward. You still want to get your hands on the ball. They come in bunches. You don't worry about that 2 days of pads, and you just worry about getting the calls right and getting the technique down. I think those will come.
How far behind was Ryan because of all the rehab? And, does it show it all in the field here at this point, or is he kind of up to speed now?
Fitzpatrick?
Yeah.
He's up to speed. I mean, he's had a lot more intel in the offense than everybody else has had, but being injured still, you got to play, but he's up to speed.
Have you been impressed with Gino in any way?
All the quarterbacks have done a good job. Like you said, they haven't turned the ball over, but for 2 days, I don't know how impressed you're going to be.
Right.
It's nice, but you ain't going to sit there and fly the flag.
Right.
Todd, do you enjoy the Revis-Marshall matchups?
No, I enjoy them all. It's nice to see when they match up. I like to see him against a bunch of different corners because he's going to go against a bunch of different ones in the league. So just like I'd like to see Revis against some of the quicker guys just for the matchup so they can get used to playing and not just playing against each other.
We saw him talking, though, after one of the reps in particular in the individual drills. Can they gain something? Can two veterans gain something from going against each other?
Well, you learn something. I'm sure Darrell reads some things on Brandon, and Brandon wants to know his weaknesses, no different than Revis. Brandon reading things on him, and Revis wants to know his weaknesses. Those are just two professionals that's going at it, sharing common knowledge.
Obviously, it was practice drill, but what was your read on how that went? And was it fun for you to watch that as a guy who likes football?
It's never fun when either side's making a mistake because you're the head coach, but it was competitive, and we got to cut down on the penalties and the mistakes, and we got to get a couple of things down. Substitution patterns for the coaches as well. We got to clean some of that stuff up, but for the first time out, they got a good taste of it.
What can it mean for an offense, Todd, when you add Marshall to go along with Decker, and you have your two receivers that the defense can kind of shade one?
Well, right now it doesn't mean anything unless we produce, and they have production, but those two guys have done it for a long time. They're tall, they're long, they're tough, so hopefully it's an added dimension.
You've used both of them in the slot, I've noticed. Is that kind of what you want to do with all of the receivers, to sort of line them up in multiple positions?
If it's still early, we move a lot of people around just in case people get hurt and via those things. So it wasn't just those two, but we take a look at everybody.
How much does Marshall's height make him, obviously a red zone threat? How do you anticipate other teams trying to counteract that?
I mean, they know it. He's been playing for years, so it's not going to be a secret to anybody. They're taller receivers than him, but Brandon plays big boy football. Everybody knows that. He can box out, he can run routes, he got great hands and great football IQ. So he's a tough matchup. He's a tough matchup, and hopefully that'll work going into the season.
Todd, regarding Mario Davis entering this year, how would you like to see him improve as a coverage guy? How could he go about kind of improving that particular aspect?
I think he runs very well. I think he can cover. He just has to get his technique down. He has to get his technique down on certain coverages and not think too much.
How much of your defense is installed right now? Is it still pretty vanilla?
About 35% maybe.
That's it?
About 35–40%.
So what the offense is seeing is still fairly vanilla?
No, they're seeing some good things. They're picking up some good things. They got to see a lot in the spring, so a lot of guys did their homework, so they got to pick up a lot of things. And I think the offensive line and Marshall and Heller are doing a good job as far as the blocking scheme and picking up some things. They just got to play.
So 35 to 40%, just a reflection of the fact it's only been a few days then?
Well, you got to see if people have recall. You got to get a lot of people reps, and you put stuff in and see how they do it and correct it, and then you move on from there. It's just, it's day two. It's day two install, so you really just got to move on from there.
What point would you expect to have it all in? When do you want to target to have your whole defense installed by?
How fast they picks it up by the first preseason game. It should be the majority of it should be in. Not game plan wise, but just defensive wise.
With regard to Fitzpatrick, what's your comfort level because of the fact that he knows the system and he's got
It's good to have a veteran, but you still got to produce once you get in the game. Whether you're a rookie or a vet, if you're out there on the field, the comfort level is fine, and you have confidence in Ryan, but everybody's got to produce when they walk on the field.
You're waiting to see that, obviously, in camp.
I mean, he's done it. I know he can do it. He's played in the league a long time. You don't last that long not being able to do it. So it's just a matter of him getting out there doing it.
Is the offense around the same when you're talking about percentage installed, 35-40 for the defense? It's about the same for the offense?
They're about the same.
What have you, now that you've been in pads for a couple of days, what are your initial thoughts on Leonard Williams and how he's handled himself in that situation?
He's explosive. You know, we all knew that he was explosive, but it's more than that playing down there. You got to read blocks, and you got to understand double teams, and you got to sacrifice sometimes. So it's not all about him being the playmaker. Sometimes you got to be the sacrificial lamb. But Leonard's doing a good job. He runs around. He has a good football mind. He's picking up the defense well. So, you know, day two is just progress. He's just got to keep progressing.
Do you see him making some technical errors or mental errors at this point?
All of them are. You can go 22 guys, all of them making technical and mental errors right now, day two, and you just got to cut that down.
Is there anything glaring that you've noticed him doing poorly at all, or is it just little things for him?
No, just mistakes. I mean, like I said, he's one of many. You know, this is training camp. It's day two. There's going to be a bunch of mistakes, and we just got to correct them as we go.
Todd, when you have two 10-year veterans like Mangold and Rick, how does that help the process if it does? And Rick in particular, I would guess, sees Leonard Williams at times. Can he be helpful to a rookie?
He can be helpful to a rookie, being that he knows the tricks of the trade, and Leonard will see some things of how they set and pass set and quick set them and things like that in that nature. But, you know, you still got to play the game. You don't get caught into whether it's 10 years or 2 years or 1 year. You just play football.
You don't seem to get very excited about certain things. Like when we ask you about who stood out, you're sort of like, you know, it's early. Are there no times where you're on the practice field watching guys like a Brandon Marshall or an Eric Decker and get sort of like, all right, I think we have a legit shot. Even though it's early, like you look at the talent that you have on this team and there's a part of you that gets sort of like, all right, this is good.
I know we have a legit shot, but we got pieces that we got to put in place and people to have chemistry and those type of things. If you want to hear me yell and scream, probably come in some of the meetings, and you know, I have kind of a hawkish mentality. If I get pissed off too much, it goes over the top. So right now it's day two. I mean, there's nothing to get other than corrections, and you cuss something out on the field and you get excited a little bit, but not too high, not too low.
So the Revis, Brandon Marshall, you just looked at that and sort of.
I mean, I'm not playing PS4. I mean, these guys gotta play. I mean, I gotta look at a whole bunch of things. You know, I look back and retire. I might say, wow, I had those two guys. Right now, I can't do that.
Todd, I know you're not excited by anything, but what have you seen from Buster Screen the first few days?
You know, Buster's fast, and he has a very aggressive mentality. He just got to make sure he looks back for the ball and continue to work on his technique.
Has anything surprised you at all these first few games?
Surprised me? No. It probably hasn't been as hot in camp as I would like, but other than that, no.
You wanted to be hotter?
It's camp. It's supposed to be.
It's not Arizona.
We were indoors in Arizona.
Coach, speaking of chemistry,
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. We were at the stadium.
Oh, wow.
speaking of chemistry, do you like the way Calvin is operating right now with Gilly back there? I know it's only just a couple days in.
They're disguising a lot better. You know, the first day or so it was a little raw, but they're getting used to each other, and I think they're getting to see how a good feel for each other. So it's coming along okay.
You said guys have gotten worn down yesterday. Did you feel better about that today, or still?
A little bit. We got a little bit better. We got a long way to go, though. You know, the first day of pads, you get used to that, and then it's hot outside. We got to develop more mental toughness, and it's early in stages, so it's a process.
What about the top?
In a Todd Bowles training camp, do 10-year vets get cut any slack?
They get some.
Okay.
They get some.
What about the depth at inside linebacker? You like what you've been seeing out of Joe Mays and Aaron Henderson?
Oh, that's the one position we have a lot of veterans at, and with the exception of Jones, who is a free agent. The rest of those guys have started games in this league. So, you know, it's a very steady group. They're very professional in the way they do things because all of them has played.
What sort of slack do the vets get? What sort of slack do the veterans get?
I mean, we think about ordering rocking chairs in case they get outside of meetings, give them a break. But other than that, you know, you play sometime and you may get some plays off here or there to rest your legs here and there, but they work hard. They don't ask for it. You know, you just got to be aware of it.
Is Hauser a fullback now?
No, he's just subbing in. You know, we're just taking a look at him. We needed another body. He's athletic. He's one of the more athletic guys over there, so we're just taking a look at him temporarily. He's still a linebacker.
Todd, you and Shan thought about how much you'll use a fullback this year?
Not yet. I mean, we got multiple personnel groups like everybody else, so whatever's working at the time, you know, you'll get a good dose of everything.
Did you get a chance to talk to Devin Smith since he came out?
Yeah, I talked to him. You know, he's doing a lot better than he was, and we'll just go day by day.
After a couple of days in pads, is there any more clarity as far as the right guard competition?
No.